The coffee cup rattled against the saucer as the old man tried to lift it. Emma watched from behind the counter, her heart tightening at the sight of his trembling hands. It was a Tuesday morning, slow and quiet, with only a handful of customers scattered across the diner. But this man, sitting alone in the corner booth, had captured her attention the moment he walked through the door. His shoulders were hunched, his face weathered by time and something heavier than age. When he finally managed to bring the cup to his lips, Emma noticed the patch on his worn leather jacket. It was faded, the colors barely visible, but she recognized it immediately. Her father had worn one just like it. What happened next would change both their lives forever. But if you think you know where this story is going, wait until you hear what she did. She grabbed the coffee pot and walked over, her movements deliberate and gentle. Without asking, she refilled his cup, steadying it with her free hand. The man looked up, startled, his pale blue eyes meeting hers. For a moment, neither spoke. Then quietly, he whispered his thanks. Emma nodded and turned to leave, but something stopped her. Maybe it was the way his hands continued to shake even as they rested on the table. Maybe it was the loneliness that seemed to radiate from him like a cold mist. Or maybe it was the memory of her own father, who had come home from war a different man, his hands shaking just the same. She sat down across from him. He seemed surprised but didn't protest. Emma asked him his name. James, he said. James Henderson. His voice was rough, like gravel under worn tires. She told him about her father, about the patch he used to wear, about the nightmares that haunted him until the day he died. James listened, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the tension in his shoulders began to ease. He told her his story then, about the war that had stolen his youth, about the brothers he had lost, whose faces still visited him in the dark, about coming home to a country that had moved on without him, to a family that didn't know how to reach him anymore. His wife had passed 3 years ago. His son lived across the country and rarely called. The trembling in his hands, he explained, came from the memories he couldn't shake, the ones that made sleep impossible. Emma listened without interrupting, her eyes glistening. When he finished, she reached across the table and placed her hand over his shaking one. It was warm and steady, an anchor in his storm. She told him he wasn't alone, that what he had given mattered, even if the world had forgotten to say thank you, that he deserved kindness, not just today, but every day. Something broke open in James then. Tears spilled down his weathered cheeks, and he didn't try to hide them. For the first time in years, someone had seen him. Really seen him. Not just the old man with shaking hands, but the soldier who had sacrificed everything, the husband who had loved deeply, the father who had tried his best. Emma made him breakfast on the house. She sat with him while he ate, talking about simple things, ordinary things, the kind of things that reminded him he was still part of the world. When he finally left, his hands were still shaking, but his steps seemed lighter. He came back the next Tuesday, and the one after that. Each week, Emma was there, always with a warm smile and a steady hand. She introduced him to other regulars, helped him find a veterans support group, even convinced him to call his son. Slowly, James began to rebuild the parts of himself he thought were lost forever. And here's something incredible. If you're still watching, take a moment and think about someone in your life who might be struggling silently, someone whose hands might be shaking not from age, but from battles you can't see. Years later, at James's 80th birthday party, surrounded by friends and family who had found their way back to him, he would tell the story of the waitress who noticed his shaking hands, the one who saw past his brokenness and reminded him that he still mattered, the one who proved that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can save a life. Today, as you go about your day, I want you to really see the people around you. Notice the quiet struggles, the trembling hands, the lonely eyes. Be someone's Emma. You never know whose life you might save with just a moment of genuine kindness. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear aprons and carry coffee pots. Sometimes they're just people like you and me, choosing to care when it would be easier to look away.